Okay, we're going to start the altar class tonight. And what I want to talk about first is kind of what an altar is. I want you all to stop, ask me questions, share pictures, share experiences, share anything at all. I just want this to kind of be like a laid back class. So, nothing super formal. So, an altar, sometimes you can use the word sacred area, sacred space. People get really weird with altars because like you're worshiping whatever. Well, you may have an altar for your religious beliefs, you may have an altar for several things, but it's basically where individuals and sometimes communities connect their beliefs. They may pay homage to deities or ancestors. I mean, we just went through a Hispanic month last month. It may be a place for you to engage in rituals. It may be a place for you to do meditation. It may be a place for you to journal. So they kind of vary back and forth depending upon what they are. So we do altars, or at least I do altars, and I want to present it to you as a way of creating what's called a physical sacred container for you to work with. I like one of my altars, and I'll show you some pictures of them. I'm not going to show you my private altar. My private one I tend to keep private just because um just the energy. I don't know. I just always have that one. I show the other ones because they're out in the house and they're about, but I don't really show my private one. So interesting. Um so basically, as I was saying, it's an energetic container for us to focus on things. And this could be focusing on prayers, intentions, devotions. And it really helps me in the morning just sliding out of bed and just having a little space. Literally, I'm literally sliding out and putting on a meditation pillow. And I have my journal there. And I have my phone, and I'm like, oh, wake me up, please. What message do I need today? Can I even wake up? I mean, it could be just something just really simple. And it's a space for us to connect to different people and things. It can be a space for us to connect to our inner selves, our inner voice, our sacred self. It could be a space for us to connect to the sacred. And whenever we create an altar or a sacred space, it is opening up to both energetically and physically. Okay. So that means that it is not just in this world, it's kind of a gateway to the other world. I have an altar I'll show you. That's my altar of black cats because kitties are gateways uh to the other world. And so I just kind of like my black kitty one. Um a lot of times also if you make an altar and you put a lot of things into it that you find beautiful, it makes our heart happy and it connects our soul in a beautiful way. And then it helps create and connect to that energy. And then it goes to the sacred energy. And then it comes back to us. And it's just like this ever ending little infinity of energy. Also, don't feel like when I show you some of the altars or we talk about it, don't feel like your altar can only be in one place. A lot of times they can just be anywhere, and there's also ones that you can take with you. Some people, because they live in a world where they can't be as open, may just have a little bookshelf behind them with just a couple little things. On their kitchen table in the center, in the centerpiece, they may have some beautiful flowers with a little crystal and maybe just a little angel. And that's considered an altar. You may have something outside in your garden where you take little gnomes or little elves or little fairies and create their little world out there. And you go out and you meditate and you journal, and it's connecting your energy to those. A lot of times they do ask that, we use kind of local or sustainable things and looking at the environment and connecting with nature. So if you are like really get into plants and you're outside, look at things that will help nourish the ground, nourish the earth. Maybe bring bees or butterflies to your house. I'm looking at Rachel and I said I can see you doing that. So, where do altars come from? I have to throw in history, sorry. They have a rich and really just varied history throughout time. It goes through different spiritual traditions, different religious traditions, and on and on. So the very first time, we looked at kind of the ancient Sumerian, Babylonian, Egyptian altars, kind of like 30 BCE, 3100 BCE, through that time, where they were connected to religious practices. They were in temples and they were offerings to deities and individuals who have personal altars for like household worship. So you may have a fireplace and then you may have an honor to a deity there for food, for weather, for protect, especially like wintertime gathering of your crops and things like that. So you may want to think about it religiously, and that's okay, and you may not. I have a Buddha and Ganesh one where I do my yoga is near there, my yogic cards and stuff like that. So it really connects me there. I also have a Mary Magdalene one, you'll see, because I really like Mary Magdalene. And so there's all kinds of different things you can do. Greek and Romans also had a lot of altars in their house where they did rituals and ceremonies and things like that. And it was to appease the gods and goddesses, but it was a family thing. So the altar that was there, different things were brought by each family member. So if a family member was looking for fertility, they would bring something that represented fertility. Every time I think about fertility and statues, I think of the Venus of Willendorf. You don't know who that is, look her up. She's the little stone statue with the big belly that we see all the time. Not Gaia, but the other one. So you would bring things. So if you wanted food, if you wanted love, the fruit for love is what? Does anybody know? The fruit that most cultures use for love.
Apple.
Exactly, an apple. Why?
And I don't know.
Does anybody else know? Okay. The apple is considered the fruit of fertility. Pomegranates were in the Middle East, not apples, but apples were more of Greek, Roman, European. And inside, whenever you open up an apple, there's a pentagram there. And it is the symbol of heaven and earth and creation. So that's why. And it's also said that if you peel the peeling of an apple, it will tell the first letter of your lover's first name. And bobbing for apples kind of came with that too. If you catch an apple while you're bobbing, you'll be the next one to fall in love, or you'll find your romantic partner. And that's kind of where bobbing for apples for Halloween came from. There's Jewish altars, there's Hindu altars, there's Buddhist shrines that have altars, there's Christian altars that have a lot to do. A lot of times, the Christians, a lot of times people will think, oh, it's the Catholics more. And that is true for a lot because of the saints and all of that representation, the Madonna Mother, things like that. But in Christianity, it also has to do with Eucharist, or what we call Holy Communion, because with Holy Communion, it's kind of a ritual that you do. Different churches do at different times. Some it's weekly, monthly, six, whatever. And there's a process and a reading that goes through, and we went to the front and we received Eucharist or communion, and then we went back, and there's like this whole display, and I used to help put the display up. I didn't know I was putting up an altar when I was in church all the time, but that's what it is. The idea of the Muslim prayer and praying towards Mecca, that's altar. Shamanic altars, a lot of ancestors there. There's a lot of ideas of nature, words, words that can be said and words that cannot be said during those. And then just connecting with spirits, a lot of times bringing things in, feathers, animal symbols, things like that, and bringing them in. This just like, like this is Odin's wife. This is like a little statue. I saw your granddaughter. A little statue here. So those can go on altars. I'm glad you made it, sweetie. um, there are Wiccan and pagan altars.
She's gonna stay.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But she wanted to pop in and say hi, wave.
Hello.
That's all.
Well, I didn't see her wave. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's why it's because it was blurry. Are you enjoying college?
I'm not in college right now. I may be going to cosmetology school.
Oh, that's so much better. I went to cosmetology school today to get my hair cut. And it really looks better. It's just, I don't know what the camera's doing. But yes, I love going to visit students at cosmetology school. You all have so much fun. So cool. Let me know. Keep me posted, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So there's also the Wiccan and pagan altars that came about in the 20th century. And of course, we know most of those for rituals or spell work or honoring nature. And on those, you tend to have things that represent earth, air, fire, water, ether, soul, spirit, whatever you want to say. And there's things that represent each one of them. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then now, presently, because this has been from the beginning of time, but more presently, we have secular or personal altars. And those secular means non religious, is what that word is for. So it has to do with reflection and mindfulness or just a space for energy. A lot of people I've read about lately use altars when they're really depressed. They create energy around that altar that when they sit near the altar, that energy, that positive energy is transferred, and they either have fire or water to take the depressing energy away. So, but the thing is, though, each altar kind of serves as a focal point, a spiritual practice. It can symbolize whatever you wish, but it's a connection between the spiritual and material world. One of the things, and we're going to talk about how to create an altar, one thing that bugs me to death, people sitting things on my altars. And the ones in the front room, people don't realize are altars. But yeah, people just like things. So what you want to do is if you do have an altar, kind of have it to where, oh, this is decorative for this, and not allow keys to be laid down there or things like that. Kind of pick them up and move, because sometimes that kind of takes away some of the energy. It kind of interrupts some of the energy and things like that. So, but just remember, for spiritual connections, you have them as a focal point so that you can connect with yourself or higher power. If you're doing deities and ancestors, that is to show respect and seek their guidance. Always be careful with what deities you connect with. Make sure you really truly understand them and how their personalities are, because sometimes they can be a little fussy. That's a good word. And then you can just do things for rituals and meditation. It could just be prayer, Bible study, meditation, mindfulness, things like that. So, any questions so far? I'm going to list. No questions? There's questions. Yes.
Oh, just something talking about the apple. I always heard that you twisted the stem, and whatever letter you landed on was the person you were going to marry or something.
Yep. Or even years, like how many times, like 1, 2, 3, that's how long it's going to be. Yeah. Or how many kids. I've heard that too. Yeah.
I've never heard those two.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's so many things. And it all has to do with intention. So remember, it all works with what you want it to. Yeah. So what I want you to do is I'm going to tell you 15 different types of altars, and I want you to write down at least 2 that you want to have, and I want you to share with me. Okay. I'm going to go through these. They're pretty self-explanatory. A home altar, just for whatever you want to do with it to bless your home. A meditation one, an ancestral one for just nature, just to give honor to nature, animals, the environment, Gaia. A pagan, Wiccan, witch kind of altar. Religious ones, which can be Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, Islamic, Jewish. A shamanic altar. A yoga altar. Bhakti yoga is the one that most people will use for yoga, because bhakti is the devotional yoga, it's the spiritual yoga that shows devotion to goddesses. So I have Ganesh, one of them that Christina bought me, and a few more as you see on my altar for my yoga. A secular one that just has to do with inspiration and contemplation, and then a seasonal one. And I do a seasonal one, and you're going to notice it looks pretty crappy right now because I've not added it because I can't figure out what I want to do yet. But it just celebrates each of the seasons and the holidays, and I just took the Samhain one down. And I know I'm supposed to, go through with the different equinoxes and things like that, but I just can't figure out what. So while you're thinking about one, I am going to show you a couple of mine. So give me 1 second. Then I want you to share. Okay, you're going to see yourself for a minute. Okay. Nope, wrong email. Hold on. Okay, I have too many emails. Okay, can you see my screen with pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, thank you. This one right here is my healing altar. It has my healing spirits card. It has the little tincture bells that go with it. I pull a card if I'm really wanting healing. There's the crystal ball to kind of help me focus, and then a candle. So you can have all the different elements or just certain ones there. This is my Mary Magdalene, and my Mary Magdalene cards are missing from there. Okay. Usually my deck of Mary Magdalene cards are there, but that's my Athame. That's my Isis one that I used in the Mary Magdalene initiation. Here's a red crystal ball. That one's a purple. You can't hardly tell. There's the candles for her. And these are actually things that you put in your hair to hold your hair back. And they are Athames for Mary Magdalene. Let's see. Let's go back. This is the one I'm working on. I have not finished. This is a black crystal ball. Don't really like this tablecloth. I'm looking for or altar cloth. I'm looking for my other ones, and I don't know which candle. So this one's a work in progress. It's not gonna, hold on. Okay. This is my meditation one. You notice there's a couple of Ganesh, 3, love my Ganesh, and Buddha. And these are the spiritual books that I use for yoga. When there's my little meditation pillow, I'll pull it out. These are Japta cards, which are yogic cards that have to do with Japta yoga. And it's kind of, that's it. Okay, let's see. It's going this way. Well, ooey, why will it not go any other way? Okay, give me 1 second. Do this the old-fashioned way. This is my chakra one. And I moved this over here. I meant to pick this up because these are my bones that I throw. I don't know how they ended up on there. But this is kind of like chakra plus witch mixed. I love my little bat. I have a black one too. This is the card deck here. This is pentagram. It also has card decks. This has card decks. This one right here, I was really focused on working on my intuition. So you notice all the purple. So I put the purple there. But I put the gnome there to kind of, I know the color's off, but it's for yellow to work on my solar plexus. And of course I have a wand, and there's usually water laid out here. That's a salt cave, one that changes colors. It goes through the chakra colors. This is my sound bowl I'll use to balance. And then I love Cindy, who isn't here tonight, got me this, and it's my little plague doctor. That's a psychic. So let's go back. Oh, I'm missing quite a few. Where are they at? Hold on. This is my black kitty one. And it's got my Mala Beast. It also has my voodoo dolls on there. So it kind of goes along with the black thing. So there is Bast, a candle, a vampire one. That's a kitty doing meditation. That's another kitty vampire. And this one, and then this is a book that I write in kind of manifesting different things. And this one right here is to bring good luck and protection. And this one is to bring money. This is another salt lamp. I have lots of salt lamps everywhere. And my black scrying mirror with the cat in front of it to bring cats forward. Where is my angel one? Okay, here's my angel one. And there's my angel. That is the angel spirit board. Here's the planchette. It's got a Lemurian crystal on it. And then I just have some candles that I feel are associated with my two angels and some Michael spray. And then this has some little trinkets in it. This is a diffuser that I use for my little angel smells. And that's as you come through the door. So people are like, oh, those angels are so cute. And I'm like, yeah. And then you walk from there to the kitty cats and the voodoo dolls. And then this is beside of it. I'm not joking. It's really funny. But those are some of my different ones. They're just pretty simple, but not, not super, super, they're not expensive. I just collect things. I even have one that I've been working on that is cosmic based, starseed based. It's got a alien meditating and then two triangles with cosmos and different crystals around it, but I haven't got it built. I just have it out. So out of these, which out of the ones that I listed earlier, which one are you thinking about wanting to build? Or do you have either one? Because I want you to have one in mind before I tell you how to build it.
I had a nature one. I've still got all the stuff, but I had to put it away. And I don't currently have room to make it up again.
Well, that's what I was going to talk about is when you're building one, just choose a little location. Those are big. Those are big tables. But just choose kind of like a little place that's undisturbed. And it can be just as small as this, just like a strip of something. And take a cardboard box. I mean, I've seen people take cardboard box and put like little grass in it and a little flower or a little, what do they say, pine cones, things like that, and just put a Gaia card in front of it. And that way, nobody really knows it's there, but plus it's a little tiny, it doesn't even have to be a shoebox, it can just be a little box. It may still attract children to look at it, but that's okay. That's how we teach them how to treat certain things. We don't touch this, and this is for honor. And do you want to add to it? And that's another thing. Doing a family altar and letting people add to it really does. And it's just sacred items to you. I mean, you can go out and buy as many crystals and statues and things like that and candles, but just having little pieces of going out in nature and collecting it, I think if it holds a lot of significance to you, that is the purpose of what the altars are supposed to be. So, I mean.
Oh yeah, I've found I've got sticks and leaves and all kinds of different things, and it's just like, oh, that caught my eye as I was outside. So
that's it. That's exactly what you should do. And the thing is, though, like some people are like, well, that's nature. What about cleansing it? Because you don't want to stick all that underwater. Put some little salt around it, or put a little bowl or a little thumb needle of salt to cleanse it if you're worried about the energy that's coming in. I never do worry about that. You can also have a chalice of water beside of it, but if a child knocks it over, then there goes all your nature stuff, but it still works. So yeah, what else?
Well, I realized several decades ago that I literally have altars all over my house. I think we all do.
Yep.
Because I have an area where I put photographs of my family and loved ones. And, that's an altar to my family when I think of it that way.
It is.
We have a rogues gallery sometimes, and we call it a rogues gallery, but really it makes us happy and we walk past it. And, it's wonderful to be thinking about our family at that time. With this month's subject on animals, I had realized, I thought, oh, that's going to be fun. I'll do an altar. But then I realized I have animals all over the place. I have feathers in one place, and I have a golden stag in another place, and I have bird bookends. And so I think the things that we put in our homes are altars in a sense, because they're there because they connect us to ourselves and to the environment and to sacred space.
Right. And if you stop and pay reverence to them, or they make you think, oh, I see this, for some reason, the stag stood out in my mind. I see the stag and I just think of strength and beauty. And today, I'm just going to be very strong and be a beautiful person, and that's all it's for. That is exactly it. Yeah, because it used to be elaborate altars and religious ones. And then, of course, different persecutions happen. And people now don't like the word, they're a little iffy on altars. They're a little iffy on, or they may live in situations where they can't. So just having a feather somewhere or seashell or something natural, but that every time you walk by and you stop and you look at it, it makes you happy. Or a mirror with affirmations, or just a mirror.
Oh, that's interesting that you say that because I have a large mirror. It's one of the old fashioned ones. People don't usually have mirrors over their dressers anymore or
Yep.
even have dressers, but I have the old kind and it has a very large mirror. And I have some very creative friends who have drawn things or painted things, and I have little things that they have painted and little sayings or affirmations that I kind of stuck up along the different corners of the mirror. So
Yeah.
I suppose my mirror is too.
That's exactly right. I mean, a mirror is an altar because it will reflect energy back to you, and it will reflect what you're thinking and your inner message from yourself a lot of times. So yeah, they definitely are. What else? What is another thing you all are thinking about? Hello?
I wasn't sure if Andrew was supposed to say something. I was also thinking about a deity one.
Yeah. So what would you, which one would you want to do?
The Morrigan and Hestia.
Yeah.
I know two completely different, deities, but I don't know, they fit me.
That's fine. I have a beautiful raven that would work with the Morgan. I usually have him on my altar, and I just took him off last week and moved him somewhere else in a little darker place. So yeah. So gather your items, anything, and you can use it. You don't have to be Wiccan or whatever to represent all of the elements of the earth. They're part of us. They're part of who we are. So earth, water, fire, air, spirit. Decide where you want to create it. Do you want a big space or a little space? Sometimes if you can have just like a little tablecloth, washcloth, doily, something underneath it that it sets it off a little bit and it will bring your attention to it. If you live with a lot of people or you need to keep it secret, you can put it inside a dresser drawer or a desk drawer, and they don't know anything about it because it's just something for you to really look at. Make sure you cleanse the space first. So if you want to use incense, waters, salt, Reiki, whatever you want to do, a bell, music, anything at all, just kind of look into that. And you can even do, I know some of you all really love music, so that would be a really good one. Arrange your altar however you want it to be. Just kind of take a moment and then think about this. You just take a few minutes a day. That's all it's going to take. If you want to do one of them to be a journaling area, journal for a few moments. If you want to pull an oracle card or a tarot card and have it be your focus of the day, pull that, do that. You can put questions that you may have to yourself or to ancestors, put them on your altar and see what comes to you throughout the day. You can whisper prayers or blessings or read scriptures for your altar. All of those all work really well, but just make sure that you visit it every day. Make sure that whenever you come in, and if somebody's there, you don't have to be like elaborate. Just kind of go, good morning. I'm setting my intention for, or good morning. We're going to have a blessed day. I would like to know this. Just talk to it as if, as if it's part of you. And then when you get finished, you can close the space because you're opening the space as a sacred space. So open it up. You can do a chant. You can be as elaborate as you want to. You can do a chant. You can do music. You can dance in front of it and then focus on it and do what you're wanting to do. but then when you close, make sure you close the space. And it's just as simple as saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it. And then if you decide like you don't want that altar anymore or you want to change it, just kind of as you are picking up each piece, thank the altar piece. Thank you for allowing me to share my devotion or energy with you. And then put it into a space where, and cleanse it, but put it into a space to where it's protected. Don't just throw it in a corner. And just really just pay attention and be mindful of it, because it just simply will be there to honor you even more at a later space and time. So what do you all think about that?
I think that's a natural thing to do. And working with an altar, and putting things away and thanking,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a real element of gratefulness
Mm-hmm.
when you have an altar, because it's usually something that you know, you feel good about and makes you happy, and
Exactly.
is a positive intention that you set, whether you're there in the morning or the afternoon or
Mhm.
passing by during the day, and it just makes you smile. So it is a grateful kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're very powerful because you set your intention. And it's really interesting to be there in the morning and maybe pull a card, or like I have my Earth Prayers book
Mm-hmm.
in a special place. And I'll visit whatever is the altar for whatever is on my mind, and setting my intention for the day, doing that positive affirmation. And then in the evening, I'll come back, and it's kind of a reflection as well as a moving forward. And I look at how that affirmation has carried me through the day, and how
Right.
things have come up that have validated that affirmation. And sometimes people will even say it to me during the day, the affirmation that I chose in the morning. So it's just really making me much more aware when I have set my intention by making that visit during the day.
Yeah, and I've had people go, well, what about if I'm too busy or I can't really sit there and do something during certain times of the day? Walk by your altar, kiss your hand, touch it. You're transferring your energy there and you're sending it love. And you may be having to rush out the door. It may be one of those mornings where, oh Lord, you're running late, but you're showing it gratitude and thank you and protect me throughout the day kind of thing. So yeah, altars are pretty simple. There's a lot of different books out there specific. There's witches altars and Christian altar and on all the different types. So make sure, you just kind of look at what you want to do, and just remember you can have them everywhere and all over the place. So, Andrea, is there a certain type of altar you're looking to build or want to build or have built?
I'd really like to build one for my ancestors.
Yeah.
I'm kind of focusing a separate one. I have a nature one where I keep like my leaves, and a good way to store sticks and stuff when you're gathering them is I put them in a vase, like
Yeah.
a flower, and then it keeps them contained, but yet you can see them. And
Yeah.
so I have that, but the ancestors really where I'd kind of like to focus my next altar.
I think it's funny because we think about that being an altar, but how many times have we been at our grandmother's house with 1,000 freaking pictures everywhere on one table? There's like 40 grandkids pictures on one table. She's got to get them all in one space. I mean, they're all over the wall. They're all over everywhere. Yeah. And that's the really cool thing, is that we don't even think about things that our family did growing up coming back to us. Like you said, it is our ancestors, but we're turning around after seeing all that, seeing that energy, turning it around and paying honor back to them by doing an ancestral one. Yeah. What would you put on it?
I would put stuff like for my mom that I know that I collect things for her. Even though she's been gone for a long time, just little knickknacks that I see that I think she'd like. I still have some of her jewelry that I keep on there, would keep on there.
Mhm.
And for the Day of the Dead, I always get my grandma a Goo Goo cluster because that was her favorite treat. So just
so cool.
treats, stuff that I knew they liked. That's what I would consistently put on there.
Yeah, I forgot about. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just let them know that I'm thinking about them,
Yeah. Definitely. I have a friend who's a voodoo priestess, and she does I'm so sorry, I'm gonna forget the deity, but he's really cool. He does cigarettes and he drinks, and I can't remember his name. But she, whenever it comes to certain times, she'll always leave out some alcohol and a cigar, and then she'll blow a puff of smoke in his face, and she's like, and I'll have good luck for the next few months. It's Papa. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Anyway,
Legba.
yeah, Legba. There we go.
There.
Yeah. I knew I was like, I can't remember what it is. But yeah, and that was like my first introduction of what I didn't really I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's an altar. But then when we started talking about it, I was like, oh, we've been doing this. I've been doing this my whole life, without anything. So that's one of the things I want to stress is the fact that that it's just simple. It's simple of what it is that you want to do that makes you happy, that makes you mindful. And this you can even use them for like I said before, even like doing an altar to your partner or someone that you want, like manifesting somebody, and just kind of put some qualities on a piece of paper that you want. I always go to paper instead of physical qualities, but you can do physical qualities. But I always think about the mind and the personality and the laughter and just manifesting and having on the altar half of what you wish for them to be. And then this is the thing we forget. What about what kind of partner we're going to be to them? What are we going to bring to the relationship? What are we going to bring and do? Because a lot of times when you put that energy out there of how you want to be treated and how you want to be in part of the relationship, that will bring people to you that want your energy, that want your type of relationship. And that's a really good way of kind of manifesting somebody towards you without bending their will, because you're not ever supposed to try to take over someone's will, and they always have free will, but it's a good way to bring that energy of a type of person that you want. So that's a different one. So Amy, are you there, sweetie? I don't want to call on you if you're not, if you're kind of checking in and out, but I didn't know if you wanted to share before we finished up.
Uh,
Right. Hey,
yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm all over the place. I'm
I
try-
love you. I knew.
I'm trying to do stuff and I'm listening. So I was just like thinking, I guess I have altars, but I didn't know it was altars. Like I have a kitchen table that's outside of my porch that I love. That I put a tablecloth on it. I mean, just a Dollar Tree tablecloth. I put my plants and I put what to me, it's just I do put little stuff or decorate for whatever time of year it is.
Seasonal altars, yeah.
And I hadn't really it was just I like to decorate and stuff, create.
Mhm.
I did a thing on my I have an actual old ice box. I mean, refrigerator type thing.
Yeah.
It works. Well, I had it. Well, I just took part of it down. I had there for a while where I had a what do you call the little runner on
Mhm.
it?
Yeah.
And my mom, I knew she had just passed, and I was like, I had bought her when I saw it at Parkville. It was a manger, and
Oh,
it lit up and it sparkled and all this. So I put that up there, and it reminded me of her. And right next to her, I had anyway. I put stuff up that I'd had that she liked it, and my daughter won't let me take it down. Like I have a little Christmas tree she fixed that Mama liked. So it stays up all year round. So I guess I was doing it and didn't know it. It reminds me of her. And
exactly.
I've just done stuff. I've always done stuff like that, but I never thought of it as an altar.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this class, because I mention altars a lot in my other classes, and everybody thinks that it has to be something magnificent and spectacular. And the most simple one that goes to your heart is, to me, the most beautiful and perfect one. So the one to your mother is wonderful. I mean, that's an ancestral altar. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring that to everybody's attention because people get caught up into things that they see on social media and on everywhere else. Oh, altars are only for sacrifices, or altars are only for religion, or altars are only for this. And you can use the word sacred space, spiritual space. The words are words, and words are powerful. So if you have a negative connotation to something, don't use that word, use another word. But just remember, it's a sacred space. And, I mean, I'm sure even me, I have a crystal somewhere. We have crystals we can lay on there. I love flowers because I have a hard time connecting with nature. I get flowers all the time, and tomorrow I get to get a new bouquet of flowers, and it's like my favorite thing because I learned this new thing. And again, here's a word that I didn't know, but I've been doing it, but I just didn't have a word. It's a Gaelic word called kything. So Kything, and I'm taking this class. Absolutely love Rebecca Campbell. And she's like, oh, we're going to do kything. Basically, you take an object, most of the time flowers or something out in nature, and you actually hold it, listen to it, feel it, and see how it feels to you. Now, how many of us do that? Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Rachel. You're the one I think about the most. But it's called kything, and we didn't have a word for it, or I never had a word for it. And she introduced that, and I was like, all of this stuff that I keep trying to learn is so simple. And all of the stuff I want to teach you all is so simple. There is the wisdom and the inner temples and the mysteries are not what we feel like as being profound things. They are things that are in everyday life that we've forgotten, that our souls are wanting to remember, our world needs to remember. I mean, just paying homage to nature, to each other, to our ancestors, to animals, to the heavens. Heaven doesn't have to be a religion, it can be to the cosmos, to the sky, because we are from stardust. I mean, dust to dust. Earth's a star. I mean, people get all funny about that, but there's the stardust. And if you are connected to star seeds, star people, cosmic energy, there's so many different things that you can do to feel like you're home or that you're connected there. And it's funny because one of the main symbols that have to do with cosmic energy is a pyramid. And where do we think of when we think about pyramids? Where? Egypt, right? Yeah. Even though there's the zaggurats from South and Central America there, we always think about pyramids like that. And then when we start thinking about creation of the world, and I'm getting off topic here, but that's okay. When we think about Pangea and how everything was all at once, I started doing a geography because I love geography, a geography trace. And I find it interesting because most of us are from Kentucky or Tennessee. I'm from Eastern Kentucky, so even more Appalachian. That the Appalachian Mountains and the Gaelic Mountains were the same strip of mountains, and then when Pangea separated. So I always find it interesting how we are so connected to Gaelic, because I mean Scots Irish are a lot of who our families are that came here, and it's like, oh, they left and they came here and they landed right in the same mountain. It was home. They were pulled back. And then they would do altars for fairies, for nature spirits and things like that. But how many of us are pulled towards Scots Irish Gaelic type of history, magic? Yeah. And it comes right down to it's in our DNA. Because those mountains in the Gaelic mountains, the little tiny ones, are the same mountain strip. They've just pulled away from each other when the earth shook and it separated. And that, Rachel, you need to unmute.
I was just going to say that's fascinating. That must be why the mountains feel like home.
Exactly.
Because they always have been. Yeah.
And there's the same, if you want to get into cryptids and all the little things, they're the same stories in that part of the country as they are in America and that part of the country. the same legends, the same stories, and it's just really cool. And I got chill bumps right now. But yeah, just taking a few moments with your altar. So what I want to do is I would love for you all to, if you want to share, and it doesn't have to be all of them, just if you would like to share, if you're next month, whenever we come back here, your altar that you've created, I would love to see it. And if you're watching in the future, hello, bring your altar picture to the metaphysical meetup in December. Or the moon ritual. I'm not sure which one we're going to have because we only have like 3 in December because where Christmas and New Year's fall. But either way, bring it, show me. I want to see what you created and why, and just kind of give us all some ideas because I feel like Amy said, we knew this, we just didn't know we were doing this. And it just gives empowerment, and it just gives an incentive to really be focused and to give homage and just observe what we're doing in everyday life. So, think about it. Well, I mentioned my healing altar, but think about a healing altar too. What would you have on a healing altar? So, Reiki symbols, flowers. What? You never know.
Have band-aids, something like
Hey,
that.
There you go. Well, that works, and that's an everyday thing.
I would have candles and probably a cross
Yeah.
or angels.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That would be perfect.
And Kuan Yin.
Yes. Yes, I love Kuan Yin. I learned something about her the other day too. What was it? Oh, the roses represent the feminine divine and the goddesses, and Kuan Yin is one of the main goddesses. And someone asked about the lotus flower, and they're like, "Did you roses? Some of the rose seeds came from the lotus flower, certain roses." I didn't know there were like 1,000 different rose types because
Yeah,
me,
a lot.
yeah, there's a lot. But there was somehow that it was connected, in Kuan Yin is connected that way as well. And I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I just thought they were pretty roses. I'm so bad. I'm trying to learn more as I go. But yeah, that's it. Okay. Well, it is just about time to go. Anything else?
I just think a really good way to begin with altars and to feel comfortable with them is, as Amy was saying, just look around your home, inside and outside, and look at it with an eye toward, what is an altar to you, what is important to you, and you just start seeing
I know.
what's important and what you want to add, or what you want to celebrate more, or how you may want to rearrange it a little because you're looking at it with a different eye.
Yeah.
That's funny because my computer desk has all of that stuff. Like, it's like, oh, I like to have this stuff around me and everything.
Yeah,
I never thought of it that way.
we just don't think of it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
But also that brings happy energy to you and makes you mindful about your emotions, how you're thinking, if stress is getting too much or happiness. And that's perfect. That is a perfect altar. I know I just have stuff everywhere. I can't help it. Those of y'all who've been to my house, stuff everywhere.
I have a question. How do you keep your cats out of them? Because my cats,
They don't
they just
bother.
cat stuff everywhere.
They don't bother anything except for Lucifer. He will jump over the big long, the chakra one on purpose when he's mad at me to try to get attention. And then the other cat will chase him over top of it. But they don't mess with the flowers. They don't mess with anything. My cats are kind of weird though. So
It does depend on the cat.
yeah,
Like, I love candles, but if I had a cat right now,
Yeah.
I would not have
I don't.
candles like I light in the evening.
Right. I don't like candles because if I walk out of the room and they knock it over, but if I'll have it right here while I'm sitting here. I have witch balls.
That's wild because I used to have 3 cats and I lit candles all the time and they never messed with them.
I have one. Well, Lucifer.
It depends on the cat.
Yeah. Stanley.
I'm just saying I did. And I even had dogs, so
I think dogs get a little bit more scared of fire. Cats just don't care and they'll just knock anything over. They just are kind of like that. You can have an altar of books. You know, no, I have 21 bookshelves in here and I cleared out a space and I can put 3 more. And Sam goes, no. And I said, well, then I can put an altar in there. And he's like, no. He wants something. But you can do an altar of books. Like I have certain like topics of books on every bookshelf. And with that, I have like on my fairy bookshelf, I have fairies, fairy oracle cards, fairy books, fairy figures, a little gypsy wagon. I have one with like unicorns, unicorn cards, unicorn books, and just kind of I have an angel one, I have a starseed one. That just kind of that's where they live. So
Well, and
That's
some-
interesting now that you mention it. I'm also a book person. And
Yeah.
so I have a small enclosed bookcase that I have my metaphysical and spiritual books in. And on top of that, I have things having to do with my mother, her photograph, her red hat, her baby hair, her lock.
yeah.
Things like, oh, and her cross stitch because she was a cross stitcher.
Oh wow.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Andrea, you were gonna say something too?
I was gonna say, if you have a hard time, if you're in a situation where you can't have an altar, that sometimes I've made like a collage, like a poster board side collage with, I call it my moon board, but it's stuff that would be sacred to me or pictures that make me happy, but it's in a paper form that can be moved.
Yeah.
You can look at it, you can, but so that's a thought too.
Definitely. Some people don't like, other people don't appreciate it. We'll just put it like that, or understand it. So yeah, it's always a good idea to have something that's movable. You can do travel altars too, but have something really small in a little box in a paper like that.
Get some really cool ones in those Altoid tins.
Yes.
Really neat ones.
Yeah.
Even
Such a great idea.
Yeah. But you come into my house and beside of me is 4 athames. so there's no hiding that
it's
one.
the
Yeah.
Oh, Bertina.
Yeah.
Also, we can have altars when we travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I travel, I take small things. I take crystals and candles and my Earth Prayers book and just things that are significant for me to have around. And wherever I am, I just set that up in a tiny little space.
Right. And like Andrea's talking about the little Altoids box, people will put just little things in there, like maybe rosary beads or crystal or a little something, and nobody knows, and it goes through airport security with no problem usually, because that's a lot of when you're traveling majorly, that comes into play. But yeah, remember, you can take a bowl of water, just as simple as that, and just focus on the water. So as I always say, and as we end tonight, keep everything simple. Everything is intention. Everything is energy. We are energy. Everything around us is energy. Everything that comes in is energy. So as long as you have the energy and intention going to anything, that is all you need. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need anything expensive. You don't need anything at all. You can connect with your spirit, your higher self, your God, your deity, whatever it is you believe in, simply by focusing and setting the intention. It's funny how, and we can get into the whole money has to be spent to do this. No. Just peace. Going outside in nature and just walking is all you need. So, yes. Any questions or anything? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording. Thank you all for coming.